Good morning. Welcome to another exciting video of algebra. I know that you guys have all been waiting, anticipating for this like it was Christmas Eve. So now the excitement is over. Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to be doing more division, and we're going to learn that the whole reason for learning how to do the polynomial division is because it's one way to factor larger polynomials. We only learned how to factor things that were x squared. This helps us factor things that are x to the third, x to the fourth, x to the fifth, those kinds of things. Okay, so here we go. First of all, we're going to start with something called the factor theorem. Okay, so I want you to think about if I asked you what are the factors of 12, okay, you would tell me they are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Now think about this. When you take 12 and you divide it by any of those factors, like if I take 12 and divide it by 2, you get 6. Do you have a remainder when you do that? No, you don't. Okay. So when we are doing polynomials, it's the same thing. If we're told that something is a factor of a polynomial, when you divide it, it means you will have no remainders. Okay. So let's say that you're told x minus 6 is a factor of this polynomial. That means that when I go to divide this polynomial by the x minus 6, I'm going to have no remainders. That very last column is going to be a 0. Now what that also means is when I take the solution of x minus 6 equals 0, which is the positive 6, and I plug it in to this polynomial where x is, it's going to equal 0. Okay. Now, the reason that's important is because it leads to this rule called the factor theorem. It says I can take any polynomial as long as if it has a factor of this, if and only if when I take this solution and plug it into the polynomial, I get 0 out. Okay, which I know doesn't really mean anything to you, but it's important for you to understand that there's an actual mathematical rule for what we're doing, and it's called the factor theorem. Now, I want you to also remember that factors are also called solutions or zeros. Okay, so factors, solutions, zeros, all the same thing. Okay, so this is how a problem's going to go. It's going to say factor this polynomial completely given that x plus 2 is a factor. So that means I'm going to take this polynomial and I'm going to divide it by the x plus 2. Okay, so we're going to do our synthetic division. Remember, opposite sign. So I'm not using a positive 2, I'm using a negative 2. And only the coefficients here. You will still need a placeholder if it skips any of these powers of x. Okay, all right, bring down the 3. Multiply 3 times negative 2, you get negative 6. Negative 4 minus 6 is negative 10. Negative 10 times negative 2 is positive 20. Negative 28 plus 20 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16. 0. Remember, this number here will always be 0 when you're factoring. When they just tell you to divide, it's not necessarily got to be 0, but when you're factoring, it has to be 0. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write down the answers. We're going to write down the factor they gave us, the x plus 2, and then we're going to turn these numbers into a polynomial. So that means when I multiply this, x plus 2, times this, 3x squared minus 10x minus 8, I end up back here at 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 28x minus 16. Okay, so now we're only half done. What we want to do is we need to take this newfound factor and we have to make sure that it is factored down as low as it'll go. Okay, so we're going to write down our x plus 2 again. And now we're going to go through our factoring of 3x squared minus 10x minus 8. So we got 2 sets of parentheses. And remember, because this second one is minus, the signs inside will be opposites. Now I need factors of 3x squared. So I'm going to have a 3x in one of them and an x in the other one. Now I need my factors of 8. So I picked 4 and 2. Now, remember, you have to check, especially when you don't have a thing here. All right, so 2 times x is 2. 3x times negative 4 is negative 12x. Negative 12x plus 2x is negative 10x. So now we have it factored as low as it'll go. And you're done with that problem. Okay, we're going to do another one. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 51x plus 108 divided by x plus 9. So we've got a negative 9 here. Bring down the 1. Multiply. 2 minus 9, negative 7. Negative 7 times negative 9, positive 63. Negative 51 plus 63 is a positive 12. Positive 12 times negative 9 is negative 108. Because remember, this has to be 0. Okay, now our factors. The first factor they gave us was x plus 9. And we turn this into a factor. Remember, this is c, constant. This is attached to x. This is attached to x squared. So we've got x squared minus 7x plus 12. Okay, now I have to factor completely. I have to rewrite down the x plus 9. Now this, 2 sets of parentheses, because this is a plus, both signs will be the same, and they'll both be this minus. Okay, factors of x squared, x and x. Factors of 12, that when you add them together, you get 7. Or 3 and 4, and you're done. Okay, so now you're going to end up with 2 assignments. Again, they're not very long. They're like 4 problems apiece, okay? You're going to have to draw in your division just like you did on assignment 4 and 5. And then remember to go that extra step where you're dividing. That's where you're using the insert button on the menu and your equation button, okay? All right, remember, any questions, get a hold of me, talk to each other, and message each other and ask each other how to do things, okay? Hope you all are still doing great, and I'll talk to you in another couple days. Bye.